All right, today we're going to take a step beyond just looking at the equations, and we're going to look at tables, look at the slope and the y-intercept, and come up with equations just by looking at a set of data. So let's review a little bit first. Example 1, we have 1/3 x plus 3. So in this equation, what is our slope?
1/3.
1/3. What is our y-intercept? 3. All right, now let's fill out the table. What values for x do you want to choose?
2 points.
Do you?
Need multiples.
Right, do multiples. -3, 0, and 3. You don't have to do multiples, but you can't graph as accurately if you don't do multiples of the denominator. All right, so we have 1/3 times -3. What does that give us?
0.
Positive 1.
Yeah.
Negative 1?
-1.
Yeah.
-1 plus 3 gives us,
Positive 2.
thank you.
Woo!
So our ordered pair is -3 and +2. All right, when we substitute in 0, we have 1/3 times 0, which gives us
0.
plus 3 gives us
3.
all right, 0 and 1, 2, 3. Substitute in 3. 1/3 of 3 is
1.
1 plus 3 is
4.
So we have 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have a straight line?
Yes.
Okay. Which ordered pair is my y-intercept?
0.
0 and 3. Right here is my y-intercept. So you can always find the y-intercept when the x value equals 0. Here it hits the y-axis, and this ordered pair is 0 and 3. What is my rise from this point on the left to the point on the right?
2.
My rise. Look at this point on the left to this point on the right. What's my rise? 1. What's my run?
3.
So we just looked at the graph and we found that our rise over run is 1/3. Is that the same as our slope?
Yeah.
Should be the same as our slope.
Yes.
Okay. And you guys said that our y-intercept has an ordered pair of 0 and 3. Do we have 3 for our y-intercept?
Yes.
So does it make sense that we have a slope of 1/3 and a y-intercept of 3 for this equation?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, example 2. Y equals -2x plus 4. What is my slope?
Negative 2.
What's my y-intercept?
4.
All right, let's choose values for x.
-1, 0, 1.
Okay. So for my first y value, I have -2 times -1, which is,
Negative 2.
no,
Negative. Positive 2.
+2. Plus 4 gives us 6. So my first ordered pair is -1 and 6. -2 times 0 is
0.
plus 4.
4.
-2 times 1 is
Negative 2.
plus 4.
2.
2. All right, so we have 1 and 2. Do we have a straight line?
Yep.
All right, look at your x and y values. Do we have a pattern occurring in the x column? What's occurring?
Just
Adding
plus
one.
one.
You're adding 1. What's happening in the y column? Decreasing by 2. So this is increasing by 1. This is decreasing by 2. If we know that information, can we find the slope?
Yeah.
Okay, how do we find the slope?
Do y over the x.
Okay, the change in y over the change in x. So my change in y is -2, and my change in x is 1. So this tells me that I have a slope of -2. Is that what I have in my equation? And it's hitting the y-axis at 4. And I have a y-intercept of 4. So what I want you to see is that you can take an equation and graph it. You can find the slope from the graph. You can find the slope from the table. There's lots of different ways, lots of different things that we can do with this data. Example 3, we're just given a table. We need to find the slope, the y-intercept, and then write the equation. So, look at the x column. Do you see a pattern?
Yeah.
What do you notice happening?
Increasing by 3.
Okay. And the y column.
Increase by 2.
So my change in y is what?
2.
And my change in x is?
3.
My y-intercept. You can find the y-intercept
2.
because it's when x equals what? 0. So when x equals 0, what does y equal?
0.
So what would be my y-intercept?
0.
0. So we think the equation should be what?
Y equals 2/3 x plus 0.
Okay. So let's graph this line using the slope and the y-intercept and see if it matches the points that we have. So I'm going to graph the what first?
The 0.
The 0, the y-intercept. And from there,
Go up over 2
I'm going to go up how many?
2.
Up 2 over 3. 1, 2, 3. So have I graphed the point 0, 0?
Issues.
Have I graphed the point 3 and 2? Okay. So do we think the point 6 and 4 is going to fall on this line as well? If I count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, it should fall right on that point. So do I have the correct equation for this line?
Yep.
In these ordered pairs? Okay. Example 4. Look at your x column.
Increase by 1.
Okay, it's increasing by 1. And the y?
Decreasing by 2.
Decreasing by 2. So my slope should be what?
-2 over 1.
What's my y-intercept?
0.
Everybody agrees?
2.
Why do you think it's 2?
Because the x value is always 0 and y is 2, so that's 2.
Very nice.
Oh, you're crazy.
She's crazy, right?
Crazy.
So that means my equation should be what?
Sure.
Y
Y
equals
will -2 over
1.
1 is plus 2.
I like robots.
Yeah. All right, so we can graph this using the slope and the y-intercept if we want. So my y-intercept is
Up 2.
up 2. And then from there, what do I do?
Down 2 over 1.
Yep, down 2 over 1. Now let's check this against the points that we were given. Do we have 0, 2 graphed? It's right here. Do we have the point 1 and 0 graphed? 1 and 0, yes. And so the other point would be 2 and negative 2. So over 2, down 2. That one would also fall on this line. All right, on the back. Write an equation for the following functions. So now what you're given are tables. With the tables, you're going to look for the patterns. You can find the slope. You can find the y-intercept, and then you can write the equation. So, example 5. What do you notice going on with the x's?
They're increasing by 1.
Okay? And the y's?
Decreasing by 2.
Increasing by 2.
Oh.
Increasing by 2. So that means your slope would be what?
Over 1. B equals 12.
What equals 12?
B.
So your equation should be what?
Y equals
Over
2
1x.
plus 2x plus 12.
Okay? Example 6.
Increasing by 1. Increase by 2 and decrease by 1.
The x's are increasing by 2 and the y's are, okay, so that means your slope is what?
1 over 2.
And what's your y-intercept?
Negative 3. Y equals 1 over 2x minus 3.
Okay. Example 7. What do you notice happening with the x's?
Increase by 1.
Okay? And the y's?
Increase by 2.
So that means our slope is?
2.
Y-intercept.
0.
Negative 2.
Negative.
Yeah, negative 2.
What?
It's not on here. How are you finding it?
You decrease, you subtract 3 from
Subtract 3 from what?
1.
1.
Isn't it negative 5?
How is it 12 above negative 3?
When did you subtract 3 from 1?
Why would you subtract 3 from, are you saying on the y-axis?
Yeah, you're subtracting 3 from 1.
The difference of 3 and 1.
Because then 3 equals 0, and then 1 equals 0.
Okay, but this one is increasing by 1. This is not increasing the same way. So if you're going backwards, when x equals 2, what does y equal?
Negative 1.
Negative 1.
Negative 1. When x equals 1, y equals?
Negative 3. I said
You did. You were correct, Hannah. So our y-intercept is? It is not 0.
Negative 5.
So our equation is?
Y
How?
equals 2 over
2x
1x.
plus.
No.
Y equals 2x minus 5.
How is it negative 5?
Because we looked at the pattern that was occurring and we worked backwards.
What does conclusions mean?
We're going to talk about conclusions in just a minute. All right, example 8.
8.
What do you notice about,
Increasing by 2.
okay, and the y's?
Increasing by 2.
They are, sorry,
increasing.
decreasing or increasing?
Decreasing.
Decreasing. Okay, so that means my slope is,
Negative 2 over 2.
can I simplify that?
Yeah,
Negative 1 over 1.
E equals 1.
You could do negative 1 over 1, that's fine.
B equals 1.
All right, B. Do we see what x equals here?
No.
No.
Can we find out what x
Yes.
equals?
Yes.
Negative 1.
How is it 1?
Oh yeah, it is.
I still say it's
Where
1.
would 0 fall in this chart?
Between negative 1 and 1.
Okay.
Between 2 and 0 is 1.
Yeah, it is 1.
Between negative 1 and 1. So that means halfway between 0 and 2 would be
1.
1. So that means our y-intercept is 1. So our equation is,
Y equals negative 1x plus.
nice. All right, conclusions. You guys have done conclusions in other classes. Also observations, I guess. What can we conclude or observe from this? What did we notice? Okay, x is equal to 0 when looking for a y-intercept. Okay. What? What's that?
Y is always over X.
Okay, so for slope, we always have the change in y over the change in x. What did we use to find the slope and the y-intercept?
Difference.
We found differences. We could also call them what? Changes, patterns, maybe. So we can use differences, changes, patterns to find slope and the y-intercept. Do we have to just use what's on? Do we have to use just what's given to us on this table?
No.
Oh.
So we can extend the table,
Yeah.
okay? And we can look at what falls into the table that we don't necessarily see, like we did here. We knew that 0 fell in between -1 and 1, so we could find the y-intercept.